I know we ended that last one a little bit abruptly, but it was just over 10 minutes, and I wanted to keep us kind of moving along with our momentum by chunking this stuff down so it doesn't get too overwhelming. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to record a PowerPoint or Keynote presentation or even a Google Documents presentation from your computer screen. You don't need any fancy equipment. You can just use your built-in mic and some software that records videos. And the reason we're going to do this is because we're going to make your video play right here on your thank you page. And that video is going to sell some stuff if we do a good job. Now, I want you to know that I'm going to show you how to do this where you can record a regular video, like a PowerPoint video. You can also use the same stuff I'm about to show you to record like tutorials for products that you can sell. You can even use this to record webinars, which I do. In fact, during this little tutorial, you might hear me use the term video and webinar interchangeably. In this case, it's the same thing. It is going to be a PowerPoint presentation with you talking over it, right? So it's all the same. And so what the purpose of this video is that you're about to watch right now is to help you get all the tech stuff needed without being overwhelming or complicated so you can record a video that'll play right here. Otherwise, we ain't gonna have nothing to put on this page. So without further ado, let me get you started by showing you two simple tools that you can choose from to get this sucker done in a hurry. There are two pieces of software that you can choose from. If you're a Mac user, I use something called ScreenFlow. And what you want to do is go to Google and type in ScreenFlow tutorials. This is going to give you way more resources than you could ever really need to use a solution that's relatively simple. The home website, the manufacturer of ScreenFlow, is a company called Telestream.net. They are the first result on my Google search here. And when you click on that under ScreenFlow tutorials, you can find tutorials and demos. And then from there, you can have anything you ever really want to know about using ScreenFlow. Is just like a complete little handy guide right here. And of course, they are videos. Now, here's the thing about ScreenFlow. You install it, and when you do, you end up with this little thing right here at the top of your screen, right? So I want to show you a couple things. First of all, there's that. Let me just show you how to do a PowerPoint presentation and record it. So the first thing we're going to do, let's see, I'll find real quick here on my other monitor, I'll find a Keynote presentation and I'll bring it up. So, whoops, here's a Keynote PowerPoint, same thing. So here's one, and let's say I wanted to record this. First thing I would do is I'd open up ScreenFlow and I would come over here and I would click on record. Now I'm able to stop record right now because this is a recording, but if I was going to record something and I wasn't currently recording, my option here would say record, right? I could also configure recording and select what microphone to use or whatever. The webinar you saw that got you here was recorded on my laptop on like just the built-in little microphone. Nothing fancy at all, no special equipment or anything, right? So I'm assuming you're kind of using the same rudimentary equipment that I'm using. So if you have a fancy mic, you can select it here, but you just want to click on start record, right? Now when it's recording, you'll see like a little countdown box. It'll like your screen will go kind of dark and it'll say countdown, ready to record, 3, 2, 1. And then it's recording. And you'll see up here at the very top, the little dot right here will indicate that it's recording. At that time, all you do is click on play. Now watch what happens to the picture here. When I click on play, this will take up the entire monitor now, right? And then I can start doing my webinar. So I'll just pretend I'm doing the webinar. Hey everybody, welcome to this webinar. It's called The Victory Equation. My name is Frank Kern, and on this webinar, we're going to learn how to reach more people and spend more money. In fact, there's good news, blah, blah, blah. And I can just go through the slides, right? Here we go, going through the slides, making it all fancy. I found, incidentally, that there's really no particular increase in conversion from fancy versus normal looking webinar slides, but it's nice to have fancy ones. So now let's say I'm done, right? So here's what I'm going to do. Once you're done, you click on stop record, and you're going to have an option to save the recording. Actually, it'll bring up a project. So let's see if I can record what the project looks like. So I'll click on stop record. So here's what came up. As soon as I hit stop up here in this little thing, I stopped recording, this showed up. And you'll notice this is something called an untitled document or untitled project in ScreenFlow. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. So I'm using the new Mac OS, which is awesome. I'm just going to do ScreenFlow tutorial. Did I do that right? I can never spell tutorial properly. Tutorial, there we go. So I'll just save that. I always recommend doing that in case we mess something up. I don't want to tag it. There we go. So this is pretty good, okay? So now here's some cool stuff about ScreenFlow. So first of all, if you want to change something, what you can do is, let's see here, make sure I got everything positioned for the camera properly. See this little area down here? These are your assets. This is your audio and this is your video. It divides it in 2 channels, right? So what you can do is, let's say I was like messing around on the computer and it took me a minute to pull up my PowerPoint presentation. I want to get everything up until the point where I first started talking in the PowerPoint or keynote presentation, right? So what we're going to do first is we're just going to visually drag this thing along here and get right to where I go full screen, and then I'll stop. Now, I don't want to cut it there, so what we do now, see this little thing at the bottom? This makes the file expand larger, so it kind of gives you the ability to sort of fine-tune where you are. So now I'm just going to go right back. I'm going to scroll back. You can see nothing changes while I'm scrolling, and because I've made it a little longer, I've kind of zoomed in, and it looks like right here is the part where I'm just about to start talking, right? So I'll hit play. Boom, there it is, right? So I'll just go right back a little bit by just manually dragging this guy over, and I'll stop there. Now, let's say I wanted to cut out everything else except for the very beginning, right? Because we're making a webinar and we don't want them to see all the other crap, right? And we don't want to have to be like all anal and weird when we're recording, thinking, oh God, this has got to be perfect, you know, because it doesn't. You can just edit something out. So what I do is, now that I found that point, I want to make sure both assets here are highlighted. So you just click either one and hold shift and click the other, and it'll highlight both. Go down here and I just make it small again, right? And that way I can see where I am. And there's 2 things I can do. I can go here to edit and I can say trim front to scrubber. If I do that, that'll get rid of everything to the left of here, everything before this thing. This is called the scrubber. Or I can split the clip, which I'll do right now, and that now gives me 2 parts, right? Here's the good part that I want to keep, and here's the bad part. And I can just manually delete the bad part. Either one will accomplish the same thing. The reason you might want to split it is, what if you want to put something in the middle of these, right? If you had another little chunk you want to drop in your webinar and don't feel like re-recording and doing everything, you just want to drop it in the right part, that's where you would use that split clip thing. But either way, I'll just go ahead and select these 2, and I'll hit delete. Now they're gone. And now I'll just drag these guys over to the beginning, right? So now my recording here is good, right? And now let's say I went and messed up somewhere right here. And I was like, oh gosh, I want to mess up here, and then I want to re-record something that's even better, right? Well, that makes sense, because we're going to do that constantly. At least I do in my webinar. So all you do is you go over here, you find the spot that you messed up, you know, whatever it may be, and we kind of go back to right when I got out of the full mode. So there we are. So let's say I was going along, and then I'm like, oh man, I messed up, and I got to hit stop record and everything. So this looks like this is right where it was, right? So I would stop here, and let's say everything after this is the mess up part, and I want to get rid of this, and I want to begin recording again where I left off, right? So what you can do is, we don't really even need to split it. We can just get rid of everything over here to the right. So I just go back to edit, and I say trim end to scrubber, right? And then look, boom, all that bad stuff is gone. So now all we have left for the whole video is this good chunk. See, I'll make it smaller again because I don't have to be so precise. All we have left now is this good chunk. And let's say, well, okay, I want to pick back up here right where I said your competitors are making it easy for you. Okay, so what I can do is I can minimize this, and hang on here, I'm already recording, obviously, so let me pull up my, I already got rid of that keynote presentation, so let's see if I can find it again. I'll pull up something else. Let's say it doesn't matter what the presentation is. I think you get the idea, right? So I'll pull up this little presentation here, and I'll say, okay, now I want to add in this guy right where I stopped, so I'll just start recording this, and then I'll add it in there, right? So we would go ahead and we would start recording. So here we go. Okay, everybody, now I'm recording, and this is all super cool, and heck yeah, man, this is great, and isn't this awesome? And you can't even tell that I just segued magically from the part that I messed up to the part where I'm re-recording a totally different part now, and in fact, it looks on purpose, right? So we do all of that, and then we say, okay, this is cool. We want to get out of Keynote. We want to get out of PowerPoint. We don't want it to be full screen anymore, so I hit Escape, and I go back here, and I hit Stop Record, and when I do, watch what happens. It comes over here, so I just stopped it, so this is another recording, and it says, all right, now you just made another recording, what do you want to do? Do you want to create a new movie out of this, or is this part of something you were working on, maybe like that webinar? Well, it was, right? So I'm giving you that hypothetical example where I might have just messed up my webinar, which is totally normal when you're recording, right? I mean, mine, I take like 2 hours to record a 1 hour webinar because I mess up so much. Everybody does. Who cares, right? That's why we can edit. So I say, yeah, I want to add it to that original file so I can edit and mess around. So I just click on OK, and then we can start editing that, all right? So it's pretty sneaky. Okay, so now what we have done, now we made that other recording and we have saved it as part of this. So if you remember a minute ago, we sort of isolated just the screen, the keynote part of this video, and we decided, okay, we want to add some more stuff to it. Like maybe we made a mistake and want to edit in a new part or something. So I shot this guy right here, I think. Now, while it's hard to make a ScreenFlow movie of making a ScreenFlow movie, that's why you see so much in this little document here. I think this is the part. So what you do is you select a little chunk, you drag it down here to your timeline, and then you just make sure you got the right part. So I want to find the part where I just started shooting that white keynote presentation. Oh, and here it is. Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to have the white part in here, right? So let's find it. Hang on. Okay, you see, now I'm scrolling down here in the bottom, and I'm getting right up to the point where it just about starts. I'll move it a little more on the scrubber. It's just about to start. Oh, there it goes. So what I do is now I want to get really precise. So I'm going to highlight these two guys. I'm going to click one, hold shift, click the other one, and then I'm going to go down here to my little slider thingy. I'm going to make this bigger so I can have a lot more precision. It just expands the timeline here. And now I'm going to slide this guy right to the precise point when it comes up. So this is like a millisecond before that guy comes up, right? So just right around there. So what I want to do is I want to just get rid of all this other stuff because this isn't the actual keynote. So what I can do is I'm just going to go to Edit, and I'll split the clip. Now, I haven't cut away anything yet. And I'll make it smaller so you can see all the pieces. There we go. Now it's smaller. And this is all the stuff I want to get rid of. So I'm just going to hit delete. Boom. Okay. And now I'm just going to drag these guys next to each other. So I'll have one cohesive movie. So check it out. I'll rewind all the way. And then I'll come up here so you don't have to listen to me ramble too much here. I'll come almost to the end of one. And now, obviously, the audio is going to sound weird because I'm not really making a webinar on this. I'm just showing you ideas, but you'll see sort of how it works. So you'll see how it just quickly how quick the transition is from one keynote to the next, right? So let's go ahead and click on play and watch. You see there? So I got rid of all the unwanted stuff and I just spliced in the good stuff. And it's really that simple on how you do all of that. So editing webinars and something like ScreenFlow is really, really easy. It's just using that split clip, delete the parts you don't want. You use this little guy down here to get really, really precise at the exact microsecond you want to delete it or split something or whatever, and you're good to go, right? So never worry about messing up while you're recording something. Know that you can always just start re-recording and pick up where you left off and get rid of the dumb parts and add in good parts. And hey, that's why we record these things, right? To take that pressure off of you. So this is my my attempt at an easy version of a ScreenFlow tutorial. The actual guys at what do you call it there at ScreenFlow are infinitely better at teaching this application than I am. There's all kinds of fancy stuff you can do with it if you want to. I wouldn't recommend it. But if any of this seems difficult to you, please just go to their site and look at their tutorials because they're really, really good. And or you could buy a tutorial which will be inferior to their free one. So I would recommend you buy one of theirs. Now, if you want to, let's see here, hang on. If you're not using ScreenFlow, if you're not using a Mac, or if you just don't want to use ScreenFlow, there's another application that does the same thing. It's for PC. It's called Camtasia, and it works just like ScreenFlow. Its interface is ever so slightly different, but it's all really the same. And if you want to check, that even comes with a free trial, by the way, for Mac and Windows. And if you want to check it out, just go to Camtasia Tutorials. You will see their second result here in the search engine is for Camtasia Studio 8. That's what you'll need. And it's just like ScreenFlow. It's got all kinds of simple little tutorial videos in there that you can use to just figure it out in no time. Like, seriously, anybody can use these. This is very, very simple, very intuitive, very easy, very hassle-free, very, fun to do. And when you're done, by the way, when you finally are finished and you have it all edited, what you want to do is, in either one of these applications, just go to File, and then you want to go to Export, and export it to whatever type of format you want. So you can see this thing is going to want to export the movie as a .mov file, and really none of this stuff matters. You just need to make sure you remember what you call it and where it's being saved to. Go ahead and leave this preset here alone. The custom size and stuff doesn't really matter as much either. Now, in the old days, this would have made a really, really big deal because we would have to get another piece of software and we'd have to encode this video and make sure it's proper to stream. And then we'd have to get like a flash player and put it on a website and pull our hair out and basically be geniuses of technology. Geniuses of technical stuff. Geniuses of technology. Good Lord, man. I've been in front of the computer too long today. And it would be a pain in the butt, but no longer so. Now, it's pretty simple. So all I want you to do, name your movie something. Don't mess with any of this stuff. Remember where it's going to save it and hit export. Because in our next video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to take this sucker that we just made and stick it on your website using another little website, another little video hosting service, and by pressing a couple buttons. So it's pretty easy. No more tech stuff needed. This is going to be simple. So you just did the hardest part. Okay? So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.